On Friday, August 6th, Cedar Point started to tease a new announcement, which just so happened to be for the removal of Wicked Twister. Now, I'm not going to claim this was a beloved attraction or anything, but purely because of Cedar Point's status as the roller coaster capital of the world, any coaster that leaves that park will be met with a bit of pushback. All things considered though, this is probably the best choice out of any coaster to leave this park. Its capacity was low due to only running one train, and it seems to have gone down pretty frequently. I'm a bit bummed because I never got to get this credit, at least at Cedar Point, but hopefully it'll move to another Cedar Fair park so I'll get the chance there. However, all of this begs the question, what is going to replace Wicked Twister? This is a coaster leaving Cedar Point, and without another to replace it, their coaster tally goes down one, which isn't really ideal. Pretty much the first thing I was thinking of is what exactly could replace this ride, if anything at all. Because, let's be honest, there's not a whole ton that can fit in this space. The options are pretty limited, unfortunately, just because how small of an attraction this was. That almost makes it even more interesting to speculate due to how narrow the possibilities are. But I think I have to get one of the most likely possibilities out of the way first. It could be nothing. Well, not nothing, but nothing big like a roller coaster. We could see a flat ride, maybe like a Larson Loop here, or even just a new store or restaurant. This space alone is pretty small, and if Cedar Fair doesn't feel like squeezing a new coaster in that area, then they might just not. And that's one of the more likely possibilities. Even with that being the case though, I still can't help myself from thinking of the great possibilities that could utilize this space, although some are more likely than others. First, let's talk about one of my most unlikely wishes, an RMC Raptor. These are fast-paced and relatively cheap coasters that can fit on small plots of land, just like the one that Wicked Twister once sat on. It would probably have to be a custom layout like with Jersey Devil, being more long than square, but all things considered, it is possible. The problem with this type of ride, however, is its low capacity. Cedar Point is a really popular park, so trains that can only carry around 12 people won't work out too well. These do have the capability of doing 4-train operations, like we saw with Jersey Devil, but it's still not ideal. So, although it is possible this could come to Cedar Point, I kind of doubt it. How about one of the more talked about potential additions to Cedar Point, a Gerstlauer? Depending on the scale, these can fit on pretty small plots of land and offer a decent amount of thrill. If it doesn't fit the plot as of right now, they could clear up some space for it around the area and hopefully put a good ride here. However, the Gerstlauer that everyone was hoping was coming to Cedar Point kinda didn't come to fruition. If you don't already know, Gerstlauer announced earlier this year that they would be adding a record-breaking coaster to a park within the next year. People were pretty confident this would be added to Cedar Point considering how much they love their record breakers, but it was recently confirmed for a park called Glenwood Caverns, and honestly kinda seems like a stretch to be called record-breaking, but that's besides the point. Basically, it's not looking quite as likely that Cedar Point will be adding a Gerstlauer to their lineup, although it is still possible. Going back a little bit to a point I made earlier, Cedar Point does really like to add record-breaking coasters to their park, so if it were a Gerstlauer or even an RMC Raptor, it would have to do something special to separate it from the rest. With an RMC Raptor, that could honestly be anything considering their rarity right now, but for a Gerstlauer, there's only really two possibilities, the inversion record or the angle of descent record. I doubt a coaster with the inversion record could fit on any space that this plot offers, so it likely won't be that one. Therefore, the most likely addition, if it were a Gerstlauer, is the steepest drop on a coaster. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but that's my bet. A coaster that I would most like to see, but is about equally as unlikely, is a modern wooden coaster. GCI is the standout manufacturer that could do this ride, but I wouldn't mind if it were a Gravity group either. It would have to be a relatively small scale ride considering the plot, but I do think they could fit it in. This once again goes back to the issue of a record-breaking coaster though. There's not a whole ton you could do to differentiate it. That's pretty much why I don't see this option as likely, but I still really hope it happens because modern GCIs can be really fun and Cedar Point could use one. And finally, just to throw another option into the ring, Skyrocket 2. This is really unlikely considering Cedar Fair has never bought one of these things, but it is possible. It would have the same capacity problem that Wicked Twister did, which is why I doubt they'd go for it, but it's certainly more reliable. Not likely, but a possibility I wanted to throw in there. With all that being said though, I don't really know what could replace this plot in Cedar Point. All of my options each have their upsides and downsides, but none of them look incredibly likely. However, if you have a better option, please feel free to tell me in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you all next time.